I'm Barbara and I'm 29. My partner's Rob and we've got a baby girl called Chloe. I'm going back to work part-time soon, and just recently we've moved back to nearer my parents in the hope that they can help out with childcare and also see a bit of their granddaughter, and also help me to not feel quite so isolated when Rob's away with work. And also my sister, she lives nearby too, she's got 2 children. My father has had an alcohol problem for many years, and I thought that things had got a lot better. But actually, since I've moved back, I've realised that actually things are as bad as they've ever been, and Mum's just been hiding the truth from me. Dad's not working at the moment, and Mum seems really ill with all the stress of it all. I try and help out where I can, but it's hard, what with the baby and going back to work. I'd like to spend a bit of time with Rob, but more often than not, every time we see each other, I'm stressed out or crying and worried about Chloe and Dad. My sister doesn't want to get involved because she's worried that it's going to upset her 2 children. I mean, I see what she means, but somebody's got to keep an eye on her parents. I'd really like to be able to spend some time with my friends, you know, the ones from back where we used to live. But with Rob away, I mean, there's absolutely no way I can risk leaving Chloe with Mum and Dad in case something happens. Rob and I got engaged a few months ago, and we want to start planning the wedding, but I just can't cope with that at the moment. I want Dad to be there. I want him to give me away at the wedding, but I don't know whether he's going to be ill and not be able to turn up, or if he's going to get really drunk and end up ruining the day. I ended up bursting into tears at my last appointment with the health visitor, Carol. I just had a massive row with Dad and I ended up blurting everything out to her. Felt a bit silly initially, but in a way, I'm kind of relieved that at least somebody else knows now. She was really kind. She actually listened to me. She told me that there was some help available for family members down at the surgery. I've had a few sessions now and it's been so useful.
Hi Barbara, good to see you again. This is the 4th of our meetings, isn't it?
Yeah.
And at the end of our last meeting, we talked about you thinking about who was around maybe that could be supportive of you. And what I thought we could do today is maybe just to think about who's around, who's supportive, who's maybe not so supportive at the moment. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to maybe just take a few notes, do a sort of diagram with you in the middle and the people around it, so that we can build up a bit over time.
Yeah.
And also it's maybe something you could take away with you and think a bit more about and reflect on, so it's something you can take with you.
Okay.
Does that sound all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Great. And Helen, who doesn't really want to have too much to do with your mum and dad's situation because she's worried about upsetting her kids, really.
Yeah, well, but we do, like I say, we do get on though, so it's just that she's just quite scathing about, my dad sometimes, which, I can understand. So
generally you do get on. It's that specific sort of issue that you tend to...
We get on about everything apart from my dad.
Okay, right, so actually that can be a pretty supportive relationship, as long as you don't hit on that kind of subject in which you're going to disagree.
I've learned to just avoid talking about it now with her.
Okay. I'm just wondering if there's anybody else around for you that's supportive, even if they're not necessarily geographically close to you, or people you've on the phone.
Well, I've got my group of friends who I used to live near.
Right.
And there's 4 of them, and there's one that I talk to more than anything, really.
Okay, and what's their name?
Ava.
Ava.
She's the main one.
So you're still in touch with her even though you've moved away?
Yeah, we text each other a lot and, ring each other once a week.
Okay, so pretty frequent contact, really? Yeah. And she's pretty supportive?
Yeah, she is.
Okay. Anybody else at all?
I suppose the only other person's Adam. But he's not on the scene, do you know what I mean? He's kind of away.
Adam's your brother?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's not around to actually give you support on a regular basis?
Well, I mean, he emails. We email each other. And, you know, we are close. And before he went travelling, you know, we were always together.
So you were pretty close. How long has he been travelling for?
Well, he's supposed to have been gone 6 months.
Right.
But it's been 9 months now,
Right.
and he's not showing any sign of wanting to come back. So.
Okay, so he's quite happy travelling then.
Yeah.
But when you do email, you still get on pretty well, you?
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know quite when he's going to come back, but I miss him really, because I could do with him being around at the moment. So. But you can't kind of force people to do what they don't want to do.
No.
And if he's happier not being around, then...
That's kind of where he's at the moment, it sounds like. So there's a number of people around, some pretty supportive, some, you know, a bit of both, which is fairly normal, isn't it? And you were mentioning about the woman that you'd got back in touch with, that you'd moved back near your parents.
Oh, yeah.
Her name, what was her name?
Sue.
Sue, okay. How are things with Sue? How's your relationship with her?
She kind of thinks like Helen, really, my sister, that, you know, I ought to just live my own life and leave my dad to it. But it's hard, you know, it's easy for her to say, isn't it? But I can't do that, especially not now I've come back.
Right.
She's just kind of, you know, get on with your own life and let him get on with his, but...
Right, so she's somebody who you were close to in the past. You've been away from, you've come back, you've caught up with each other
and
again.
she knows my dad, because we were together as kids, so, you know, we've grown up with Dad, and he's always been like that.
Right.
So she knows what he's like, and her attitude now is, you can't change him, which, you know, may be true, I don't know.
I'm just thinking about this, you know, something you really want to do is to go back and see your friends.
Yeah.
From where you used to live. But there's a little big difficulty around that, because you're worried about, you really wouldn't leave Chloe with your mum and dad at the moment.
Oh, no way. Well, I couldn't, because if I did that, I'd end up, you know, leaving Chloe with mum and dad and then worrying the whole time about what's going on. I'd be constantly ringing and checking she's okay. And I mean, I wouldn't enjoy myself because I'd be worried about her.
Right, okay, so that's definitely out at the moment.
I don't want to leave Chloe with mum and dad, not a minute.
Okay. Just looking at the people that are around you, can you think of anybody that might be able to help out in terms of helping you to be able just to go and have a break and see your friends for the weekend?
I suppose Helen. There's always my sister, but I don't know.
Not sure about that.
I think my mum and dad would be upset if I left Chloe with Helen.
So how might you go about that? If you thinking, yeah, I'd actually like to leave Chloe with Helen, and it'd be nice for Chloe to see her cousins and they'd love to see her, so there's, you know, no problem in that respect. How might you think about having that conversation with your mum and dad? Does it just seem kind of impossible?
I think my mum would be upset. She'd probably start crying. Dad would probably just get angry. So it's easier to just not go away for the weekend.
Think about Rob. You're saying that he's away a lot. Is there any way that he might be able to look after Chloe when he's back for a night, or help you out in that respect to enable you to go out and see your friends? Or
it's possible, but I suppose when he is back, we kind of like to do things, you know, as a family. Really, I've not really thought about the idea of kind of going away when he comes back, because obviously I hardly seem to see him anyway.
Right. So it's not a long-term solution.
No. But
possibly something you could do on a temporary basis, or a one-off, or just to give you a break. Possibly is that?
Yeah, I could perhaps organise to go away. You know, try and coordinate it so, you know, when he is back, that's when I plan my weekend away, I suppose.
And possibly, I'm just thinking, you know, you're saying it is going to be such a difficult thing to have this conversation with your parents. Would Rob be able to support you in that in any way, or?
What you mean, go together and?
Possibly, or.
I mean, he could. Again, I'd have to wait for him to come back though, but he is due back.